Right, well, hi, it's Deb here. Hi, Zoe. Nice, thank you for joining me. I'm just trying to find out how I can add our fantastic speaker, Dawn Evans, into this. I know I've done it before, but it seems to have disappeared. So if anybody can tell me how I can actually add somebody into this, I would be grateful. Maybe I need to be running a live from my computer. I thought I had it all sussed. Let me check the computer and see, because that could be the issue. I've never done a live from my computer. I always do it from my phone. So let's have a look. Dawn, I can see. Oh, right. I've got you. Dawn, you're here. Fantastic. Yes.
Okay, I was just beginning to wonder how on earth this was going to happen, knowing that I'd made it happen before. But now that Dawn is here and we've got the text sorted, I can say thank you and welcome to day 2 of Money Week in the massive May birthday bonanza. And I'm absolutely delighted to have Dawn Evans here as a guest speaker for us. And she's going to be talking to us about all things wealth. Dawn is a wealth coach, among a number of other things, which I'm going to allow her to introduce herself properly because I know I'm going to get it wrong. But if you've got any questions, pop them into the chat. Hopefully I'll be able to pick up the chat as we go along and we can ask Dawn those questions towards the end. I'm going to be taking notes as well, so we can summarise towards the end of this as well. This is our very first expert kicking off massive May birthday bonanza. So Dawn, without any further ado, over to you.
Oh, thank you, Deb. Well, first of all, it's lovely to be here. And I also have a birthday in May, so double celebrations.
Absolutely.
Yes, so what do we need to know about money? Well, when I coach people, I always say, don't focus on money, focus on success. Because if you get it right, money will follow. I think too many people are hell-bent on getting the fast buck and getting money into the bank. And that's not how it works, Deb. You have to focus on success. And like I said, when you get successful, the money will follow. A bit about me. Well, I started my journey probably from the school age when I was about 14. Started saving my dinner money. I opened an account with the principality, and my mum used to give me £1 a day, and £5 a week every Friday would go into my savings. And I saved that, got a first job at 16, and then by the time I was 19, I had my first house. So I would say to people, plan. Always have a plan, because if you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get there. So in business and in life, you need to map out your road to success. You might have a few dead ends on the way. You might have to take a few U-turns. But if you've got a good vision and you make a plan, then you will get there in the end. Success will follow. And that was my plan. You know, at 18, I took out my first endowment policy and obviously my first mortgage at 19. And I was always hell-bent on being successful. And I never really focused on money. I just wanted to make a positive difference in people's lives and to be successful. And that was my main focus. And I went on to work, joined the army also at 18. And that's where I sort of grew grit, determination, resilience. Taught me a lot being in a man's world as a woman, and also in the leisure industry as well. Again, male dominated. So when I became manager of a leisure centre, it was quite alien to a lot of older men having a young woman as their boss. So resilience was a lot that sort of taught me in my life. Then obviously having a children and then starting a business. And when I know we've got a lot of business owners watching this, and I would say, get your foundations right. Don't go and spend a lot of money, get bank loans, get credit cards. I started my business with very little capital. And then focused on, you know, not the fancy uniforms, not the fancy offices, focused on growing my business, helping people and watching my cash flow, because cash is king. And if you've got cash I mean, a lot of businesses now are in a lot of trouble. And the reason we're okay is because I always have enough cash flow to take me through 6 months at least. And I think you always need a reserve in business. So going on to my story, set up business, started training, the money started coming in, needed staff, and I grew the business, needed offices. And again, when I needed offices, I chose to buy rather than rent. Because again, if you're going to make it with money, you need to have assets rather than liabilities. So I had an office became an asset. So, those who don't know the difference between assets and liabilities, an asset is something obviously you own, a liability is something that you need to repay, which is never your own. So I didn't want to rent a house, I didn't want to rent an office, so I grew assets, and I've done the same in growing my company. Even my photocopier, I own the photocopier, I don't rent it. So that's just the way I've grown a business. So I've surrounded myself with assets rather than liabilities. And I think, you know, just being successful as well, surround yourself with successful people, not necessarily rich people. There's a difference between rich and successful. And I'm not entertained by rich people who wave their money. I rather surround myself with successful people who want to help others, because I'm like that. And I think, again, if you put your hands out and you help people up, if you ever do need to fall in business, which quite often happens, you've got a lot of hands catching you that will bounce you back up. So you know, I focus on helping people, I focus on success, and yes, and I've become a wealthy lady. But you always need to, like you said yesterday, I was watching your live, you need to have good foundations. And when I coach people, I always say you couldn't build a wall without a solid foundation, otherwise your wall will come crumbling down. And I think the secret to my success and your success is having those solid foundations and building your wall piece by piece and surrounding yourself with successful people.
Absolutely. So Dawn, if you could give one bit of advice to people starting now who perhaps they're struggling right now, there's difficulties in the business, maybe they haven't quite got the cash flow at the moment, what one bit of advice would you give them to perhaps start them on that path to their financial success?
I would definitely say plan, because and know where your money's going. Because if you don't know where your last pound went, you probably don't know where your next pound is going to come from. So I would say to them, make sure you plan, make sure you know your numbers, and just have a good solid foundation. Get surrounded with the right people, and don't be scared to ask a question. The only silly question is the one you don't ask. And you know, don't be scared to reach out to people like me, like you. There's lots of people out there willing to help. We are actually nice people. And what this lockdown has shown me, and I've been online a lot, that we're surrounded by phenomenal people who just want to help others. So I think if you're just starting out, don't be scared to reach out, because the worst that can happen is they can say no.
Exactly. And actually, I think I had a similar conversation with you and with the other experts who I've invited into this, where I came up with this idea that I wanted to do something like this through May, and thought, right, okay, well, I'll just ask the people that I want to be involved. Worst thing that can happen is they can say no. And
Exactly.
I was really fortunate. I had very few no's. And here we are, you know, it's happening. And it's like you say, the only silly question is one that isn't asked, and it's something that I share with my clients as well. You know, I'd rather know what's worrying you, because I've always believed, and I'm sure you're the same, that if you're thinking of a question, you can guarantee that somebody else also wants the answer to the same question, and they might be the
Exactly.
one to ask.
Exactly. Yeah, no, definitely. And the other thing I would say to them is dream big. Don't underestimate your potential. And like you, I've got an event coming up this month, actually, in mental health. I've got 30 speakers, and the one lady that I wanted to speak was the founder of Mental Health. It's a mental health conference, and she's based in Australia. Well, I actually stalked her, hunted her down, and she said yes, and she's actually on my conference. The other guy I'm hunting down is Frank Bruno, but again, we've had conversations. So I just think, and in business, I've always achieved and broke down those barriers and gone to the next hurdle and jumped over that. And you're always going to have hurdles in business. There's always going to be a mountain. If you can't get over it, you just go around it. You know, there's always a solution to every single problem, and there's a new opportunity on every horizon. So I would just say to people starting out, surround yourself with the people that you want to become, and take advice, get out there, ask questions, and just go for it. Dream big. And if you don't land on the moon, you might land amongst the stars.
Exactly. And I said the same thing yesterday. You know, it's having those big dreams and taking those small steps to get towards them. Yeah, in my coaching, I talk about taking a small daily step to get towards them. And yesterday in my life, I showed my coppers job. And when I was going through bankruptcy and had next, you know, had no money, I was scrabbling around trying to find money to buy food. But at the end of every week, whatever coppers, and it was only coppers because I couldn't afford to put the silver in, I would take the coppers out of my purse and put them in the jar, because in my mind then, psychologically, I was saving money towards the future. Of course, over the years, that's increased. So it's not coppers anymore, it's pounds, and it's, you know, tens of pounds or hundreds of pounds rather than those coppers. But it's starting from those small basic foundations to instill that saving mentality.
Exactly. You know, an oak tree starts from a little acorn, doesn't it? And you've all got to start somewhere, and it's not too late to start, and there's never a good time to start. The best time to start is now. You know, tomorrow is promised to nobody, as we know, and just start now and be responsible and take action. Because if you are a dreamer, a dream is only a dream until you take action. Then it becomes a reality. So I would, you know, advise to people who are procrastinating and pondering over starting a business or having a change in life. You just need to take action, and then there's coaches like myself and you that will just make them accountable. You know, we're not got no magic fairy dust. We just turn up, and we're the accountability factor for lots of people who just need a bit of pushing, encouragement, confidence. But predominantly, it's their switch that they're flicking, not ours.
Exactly. Dawn, I'm taking so much away from what you're saying, and I've been making notes as we go along, because it's been really interesting. And I love that you said, you know, focus on the success, not the money, because when you get the success, the money will follow. And the other key one that's come out to me as well is about helping people. And you know, we're both coaches, and we both know that our desire is to help others achieve what they want in our relative fields. But I know that when you focus on helping people, the rewards follow.
Yes.
And that's great to hear, you know, even from the finance aspect. You know, when you want to help other people, the rewards absolutely follow. And that's one of the overriding messages I'm getting from you as well. But I also like about building the assets rather than the liabilities. And many people, I'm sure there's many people who will watch this either live now or on replay, who have read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yes.
And when he talks about assets and liabilities, and I also, an asset is something that pays you, a liability is something that costs you.
Exactly. And you know, even my holiday home, it's an Airbnb. So instead of a liability, it's now become an asset. You know,
So you're making when you're not there.
Yeah, exactly. So I just think there's loads of ways to make money, and I think the other key one to take away, if you want to become wealthy, you can't have all your eggs in one basket. And I always say to people, when you're building your empire, you need at least 5 different income streams. Now, I always describe it as having 5 taps pouring into a bucket, and if one of those taps turn off, you've still got 4 taps filling your bucket, so your bucket never runs dry. Now, take this situation, this current situation with COVID-19. I run a big training company. Now, all our face-to-face training has fallen off a cliff. It's completely non-existent because it's predominantly first aid, and obviously cross-infection and 2-meter distancing, it just can't happen. So our classrooms have closed down. That tap is completely switched off. If that was my only source of income, I would be in trouble right now. But because I've got about 6 or 7 other taps are slowly dripping in, yes, the income's slowed down. Apart from our online training, that's gone up. But so that tap is going a bit faster. One's completely off and the others are still dripping in. So my buckets will never go dry. And I think if you're going to create a business, make sure you've got multiple income streams and keep that bucket half full all times.
That's fantastic, and actually that's sort of my next plan. I've got a couple of other income streams. As you know, I've got a couple of books and things. I'm about to launch an online group coaching program. So those are all other areas that will bring in the income. And it can be quite challenging, can't it, to sort of think about what those other income streams will be. And I don't know about you, I'm sure you come across lots of people who feel that, well, you know, should I do this? Am I allowed to do this? Am I entitled? Am I being greedy if I do that? What's your take on that?
No, I mean, if you look at Richard Branson, he's got airlines, he's got record companies, he's got cruise ships. I just think, no, grow yourself. And all my businesses complement each other, actually. And, you know, as you know, I'm a wealth coach. I've got a training company. I have property portfolios. They all complement each other, and they all bring in different realms of income. And I don't think it's greedy at all. I just think it's exciting and entrepreneurial. And just because you have different incomes, some are passive, some are semi-passive, and some, you know, need me, like the one-to-one coaching. So I think if you can have a combination of passive, semi-passive, and yourself in the job, that's not greedy. That's just entrepreneurial. And I think with all my businesses, I'm passionate about them all. You know, I love everything that I do. And if you can turn your passion into profit, then you know you haven't got a job, you've got a lifestyle.
Exactly. And I love what you're saying about sort of the successful people like Richard Branson. You know, he's got very obvious multiple income streams. But you know, you said earlier, surround yourself with successful people. And this, you know, success leaves clues, doesn't it? And
Yes,
it's about
definitely.
watching and learning from successful people. What is it that they do? What can you implement in your own life? Years ago, and we've got a mutual friend, Tracy Smolinski, she will recall a number of years ago when I was getting myself back onto my feet rather, after my bankruptcy and business failure. I set up a jam business, which I still do every year. I go out, I pick the fruit, I make the jam, and when the season comes along, I set it up and I sell the jam on Deb's Kitchen, and that's it. You know, that's Christmas sorted. You know, and
Yeah,
it's very
that's
much
what.
a hobby that became a little business. It's not something I want to grow particularly, but it is a registered food business, because I know that gives me another income stream. So I think
Yeah,
never underestimate.
and I think not everybody who's watching this, not every business you start to make multi-million pounds. Some people start a business just to change their lifestyle, to get out of the rat race. They might work in London and want to live in the countryside, and then making jam in the countryside would be an amazing lifestyle change. So
Absolutely.
I think it's not always about the money. Focus on the lifestyle. And yeah, talking about Tracy and I were fortunate enough to visit Richard Branson on his island in December, and just surrounding ourselves with, you know, fundamental, instrumental people on that island who we're still in touch with. They've all got multiple income streams, and Tracy have, and I have, and that's what got us to Necker Island, not just focusing on one income and one job. We have a lifestyle, not a job.
Yes, yes, and I think that's apparent in what you do and the passion with which you talk about what you do, and again how you help people. You know, you're helping people with all of the things you do, and that becomes apparent, and that creates wealth in the traditional sense of it, but also abundance. And we hear so much about an abundance mindset. You know, and I think a lot of people think, oh goodness, you know, wealth is monetary, but as you've just said, if you can create a lifestyle, set up businesses to create the lifestyle, you have the lifestyle that you want. You don't need to have multiple millions in the bank.
Exactly.
As long as you've got the income to sustain that lifestyle.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would say my definition of wealth would be wealth is giving you the ability to live the lifestyle that you desire. Money is just a tool to make that happen.
Fantastic.
So, we all need the tools, don't we? And a workman is never any good without his tools. So you just got to focus on the tools to create the lifestyle.
This is really interesting, and I think it's going to tie in nicely. Our speaker tomorrow is Vicky Ostrowski, who is a money mindset coach. And I know from conversations I've had with Vicky about my own stuff, about money in general, when I've spoken at events she's run, that there's so many mindset obstacles we put in our way about these terms, money and wealth and all of that. And it's what you're saying now about creating those multiple income streams, helping other people, copying successful people, but creating a lifestyle. It's really interesting. I think that's going to feed nicely into what Vicky's going to be talking to us about tomorrow. It's
amazing.
Brilliant.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm pleased.
Great. So Dawn, do you have, before we go, is there one final piece of advice you would give to ladies watching this now who are thinking, I really need to sort this stuff out? What's the one thing I can do that I could possibly do today to start me on my path to creating wealth?
I would say if you want to make a lifestyle change and you want to start today, I would say get all your ideas and write them down, because things look a whole lot different on paper than what they do in your head. So look for the future, be creative, and the important thing is writing it down, because it does look different on paper, and have a solid plan, because if you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get there.
Fantastic. Dawn, that's been absolutely amazing. I can see that by the time we get to the end of the week and I'm summing up, I'm going to have so many comments to make about this. For our first expert live, you have given us so much in the group. I'm so grateful to you for coming on and sharing that with us.
It's my pleasure.
How do people get hold of you if they're perhaps interested in working with you or want to find out more about you? How can they get hold of you, Dawn?
My email address is dawn, DAWN, at ajuda, ajuda.org.uk. And I have a website, which is peakcoaching.com. And sorry, peakcoachingacademy.com. And on Twitter, I'm just Ajuda Dawn. And obviously, you're in the group, so if we got any inspirational ladies watching this, they're welcome to join our group. It's called Inspirational Ladies of the World.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dawn. I really appreciate your time today. I really appreciate your knowledge and sharing your expertise. That's been fantastic. I'm sure the other ladies watching this with us will agree with me. I'm pretty certain we're going to have some comments. Nothing's come up as I've been watching this, so very often they come up after I finish the live. So I'll jump in the group. You're in the group as well.
Yeah.
And put the comments. And if people are watching on replay, please use the hashtag replay, just so we know that you watched it. And if you've got any comments there, we'll be answering them in the group as well. Brilliant. Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you, Deb, and have an amazing birthday.
I will do. It's not till the end of the month, so this is a nice build-up. When's yours?
Mine too, 28th.
Oh, I'm 25th, so there we are.
There you go.
We've got a number of May birthdays in this group. So I know one of our other experts, she's the 30th of May. So
there you go. We'll have a virtual party at the end of the month.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's fantastic. Thanks a lot, Dawn. Have a great day.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. Bye.